In this lecture, we'll be introducing ourselves with arrays. And here in PHP, an array basically maps values to keys. For instance, you can see a table over here of students, and we have key as 0, 1. For key 0, we have value John, and for key 1, we have value Jenny. You can simply say it in terms of roll number. So a given roll number is actually associated with a student, and we can easily identify that student using the roll number. Similarly over here, simple arrays in PHP do the same thing. Now in this one, we'll be taking a look at simple arrays in PHP. We'll also see how we can create a simple array, how we can add values to our simple arrays, and append values to existing array, update an array item, and access an array. In order to create an array, there are two ways of it. First is using the array function, and the other one is using the square brackets. That's the shorthand version. For readability purposes, we recommend going with the array function. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can create a simple array in PHP. In order to create an empty array, all you need to do is just write the variable name. For instance, I'm saying students, and then here array is actually saying that this variable is of type array. So this way we can declare an empty array, or the shorthand version for the same would be students equal. So this is going to declare an empty array. Now if you want to create or initialize an array with a single value, what you can do is just copy the same stuff over here, and here you can provide a name to it. For instance, let's say we had John in our example. So this is going to initialize the array with a single value. Let's say you want to initialize with multiple values. For that, you can do a comma separate version over here, so Jenny. This way we can have multiple values in a simple array. Now if you have to read the array, what information it stores, the best way to do is make use of the print r, because we have not covered loops yet. So I will be just going with this function print r, which is going to print the content of the array in a human readable manner. So I'll say students, and here I'll be commenting out these two lines, and now let's run this. So here you can see that the output is coming up. Index position 0 stores the value John, and index position 1 stores the value Jenny. I'm just adding a br tag so that we can separate out the output of this printer statement. Now next, what we will see is how we can append new values to a given array. So here we have this students array. Let's copy this, and let's say you want to add a new item to it. So once you've initialized it, you need to make use of the square brackets next to the array name and say equal to, and here let's add another student called James. So now if I go ahead and print this value at this point, you'll notice that the output will now contain 3 students, John, Jenny, and James. There you can see the earlier version was having 2 students. Now this one is having John, Jenny, and James. So that's how we append new values. Accessing we have already seen, but what if you want to just access one item from this array? Let's say you want to see John. As we can see from the print r output, these values are associated with index position. So I can say at index position 0 we have John, at index position 1 we have Jenny. So if I go ahead over here and say echo $student, and then I say index position 1, so at this index position we know that the value Jenny is there, so that's what will be printed. Let me add the br over here as well, and there you can see Jenny is being printed. So that way you can access individual items of an array. Now let's say you want to update an item in the array. For instance, I can say I want to update John to John Doe. So what I'll do is I'll say students in the same square bracket, but here I'll pass the index value. So at this index value, now I want to assign the value James Doe. And if I go ahead now and print this individual item, which is at position 0, you'll see that instead of John we have this name James Doe. So let's do this now. There we have James Doe. You can even do a print R to see the whole set of updated values. There we have James Doe, Jenny, and James. So that was all about simple arrays. In the next one we'll be covering associative arrays in PHP.